Well, good afternoon and welcome to Rotary. It is a real honor to preside over this very important meeting today in which we will choose to accept President John's membership into the illustrious Past Presidents Council. The past presidents will present their research and their evidence to help make a very informed decision on this serious matter. Now, you may have noticed the past presidents greeting you today wearing hats. We know that President John owns many hats himself, and he's even channeled his inner Carmen Miranda sometimes in public in a fruit hat. So it just makes sense that a president wears a lot of hats, and so we are greeting you today in honor of John in hats of our own. So first, to get started, John, would you please join me on stage? So to get us started, past President Dave Hargraves with our invocation.
Oh, please, hold the applause. Yeah. President John, you've done an outstanding job this year, and I can't believe, as I reflect on leadership, I'm a big fan of quotes. And I was thinking of some quotes that I think would be appropriate for you. First one is, if you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood, and don't assign them task and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. The second one is the challenge, and this I think is very appropriate for you. The challenge of leadership is to be strong but not rude, be kind but not weak, be bold but not bully, be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble, but not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. Have humor, which you did a great job of, without folly. A little folly. Another great line from John Quincy Adams is, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Max Lucado once said, those who want to lead the orchestra must turn their back on the audience. And finally, one of my favorites from Maya Angelou, which I think is very appropriate. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And John, you made us feel really, really good, so thank you. Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for the years of leadership that you have bestowed on this club. It is the leaders that inspire us to do better for our community, for our country, and the world. It is the true leaders that make us all leaders in our Rotary endeavors to provide service to others, fight disease, and see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. We say this prayer in your name. Amen.
Please go ahead and be seated. Now, we have some additional business to attend to today, and you're going to notice that we're doing things a little bit out of order today. And part of this is a test for John to see if he can remember that we're going to be out of order today. So, I'm just going to say, after your closing remarks, we're going to end with music, which is very different than normal. And also, we'll be doing marble draw soon after our announcements. But first, let me welcome so many guests that have joined us today. If we could have a round of applause for all of you guests. Next, we have some blue badges to present today, and rather than me tripping on my Rotary heels and falling down the stairs, I'm going to have past President Charlie Eglin help me with some blue badges in the crowd. First up, a blue badge is being awarded to Dr. Amanda Ryder. Amanda. Amanda has completed her Rotary education. Congratulations. And the next blue badge is awarded to Selena Sanchez. Selena. Congratulations to you both. Now on the agenda is the final marble draw of the year. And as you all saw in the announcements, this is the last meeting, so the winning ticket will win the pot, no matter what marble would have been left in said pot. So I'm going to have President John draw that winning ticket. And the number is 2335756. Congratulations. As you make your way up here, is it to verify your ticket, or are we using the four-way test here? I have no cash to give you, so I'll give you a handshake, Scott. Congratulations. Carolyn will put that check in the mail to you. All right, next up is our Sergeant at Arms with Kelly Connaughton, past president. Kelly.
Thank you, President Jennifer, President John, Rotarians, all you past presidents and guests. I'm looking forward to this very much because we're going to talk just a few minutes about John and the many tools that John uses to get his job done, not just as president of Rotary, but throughout his daily life. And John has many tools. I actually went out to go look for a proper tool belt or toolbox. There were none to be had, but then I found out John prefers a tool tote. So this is John's tool tote here. A few things I know he has, and a few things we're going to add to it here. So on we go. Why do I have to do this? I cannot do this. Oh, I can. Thank you. I'm so talented. So getting ready for this, I found a variety of pictures, and demonstrated the number of hats and tools that John uses. This particular picture I find to be very interesting, and what I'd like to do is throw out to all of you, see if you can guess what it is that John's doing in this particular picture. Is John getting ready to play Donny Osmond at the Warehouse Theater in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Coat? Is John auditioning for Santa's Elf? Or is John celebrating a Victorian Christmas at the Yakima Museum? Everybody just put your dollars up because it's any one of those things if you know John. We understand that John actually tried to make this amazing thing. Did you make that a drape or something? So one of the things we have in John's tool tote is thread, a needle, and a measuring tape. That is in John's tool tote, so he can continue to sew and make wonderful costumes like what you see there. There we go. The next picture is a rather lovely one. Quite dapper our John is on this one. So here's a couple of ideas of what you think John might be doing. Raise your dollars high. Is John actually getting ready to meet Elton John? Is John auditioning for The King and I? Or is John opening up his career as a fashion model to do a debut event at the Masonic Temple for Yakima Magazine? Any guesses as to what he did on that particular picture? He, in fact, did do a fashion spread for Yakima Magazine out of that. The tools that John has in those, I didn't find a polishing cloth for those amazing cowboy boots that you've got on, but clearly there was a party involved with this at some level. One of the things John and I have in common is our love for gin. And so there is in John's tool tote a party glass and a single serving of gin, just so we can keep control of John a little bit. All right, next slide. And I did it the wrong way, Carolyn. How do I go back? No. That's the end. Scroll. Yeah, please. Some things never change, Carolyn, so yeah. I need you to take over. Don't give it to me. That's all I kept saying. Now, this is an infamous picture of John. I think some of us have seen it, but I don't think a lot of people really understand where this actually took place. Is John throwing pizza for Ray's Pizza in downtown Manhattan in this picture? Obviously wearing more flour than pizza dough. Is he secretly trying to paint over the Welcome to Yaca Vegas sign, the Palm Springs? Before, yeah. Or is John actually painting a habitat house in South America, which they did frequently? John was painting. We don't know if the house actually got painted because John was wearing most of the paint. We do understand, though, that John is colorblind, so the fact that he actually had a paintbrush in his hand is sort of frightening. So in John's tool tote, we made sure there was plenty of painting items. John, you probably should wear a mask next time you're painting. Definitely some bigger goggles to keep your glasses. Cut a hole in this and put it over your body, this stuff here. I think that will work out really well. So, yeah, painting is a big deal for John, and there's a lot of paint in his tool tote. This next picture I dropped dead on this one. This was crazy. So what do you think? Get your dollars out. Is John auditioning for Carmen Miranda at the Warehouse Theater? John's always auditioning, let me tell you. Did he fall last Sunday in the produce department at Safeway? What is that about? Or is John going to the symphony? Did you go in public with that? John's actually going to the symphony, and why we have no idea. But John has a favorite of designing these hats. So, John, we've bought flowers now that can go into that hat. And John doesn't have a glue gun. He has Gorilla Glue that he uses to make these amazing fashionista sort of hats. So those are in his tool tote. This next picture is really spectacular. This is when John first came to Yakima, and obviously he's dressed for either a board meeting or one of his other jobs. So we know that John is a big fundraiser. John raises money for lots of different things, which we'll talk about here. But he could be getting ready for a board meeting, or he could be getting ready for his very first visit with Ginger Hislop. Yes. The glasses he are wearing are nothing short of a picture window that any one of us would normally put in our house. So I got you appropriate glass cleaner for those glasses, John. Yeah, because you're going to need them with that. But speaking of John's fundraising, one thing that is definitely in John's toolkit is John has designed himself his very own pledge form. So it just saves a lot of time for him, and so he just cuts out all the chase. All of us have seen pledge forms. So John's pledge form just says John's pledge form for anything because he's raising money for something at every time. And really, it saves a lot of time, and he just puts Ginger's name on the pledge form because that's his go-to, is Ginger. The dollar signs on the pledge form is to let Ginger know just how many O's he's expecting on the pledge form. Made the amount very large for you, Ginger. I'm sure you've seen this pledge form many times. And making sure getting your signature is very important. So John raises money for, obviously, the Rotary Market, Downtown Association, Museum, Wellness House right now, the Plaza, John's retirement fund. Ginger, there's several here with other things that he hasn't sent you yet, so be careful. They're coming. Those are all in his toolbox. Next picture. So this particular day, it was 118 degrees outside. I think we all remember it. And so one of the things I'd like you to know and think about with this job, those of you that you were not part of this, it was an amazing project to rebuild the playground at the Greenway. John was a big part of that. So in this picture, is John trying to keep Kelly from taking more Xanax? Is John trying to keep Sonny Cameron from wringing Kelly's neck for even getting her involved in this project? Or is John trying to manage the tool trailer and change everything that Dave Brown had done and organized the night before so that Dave Brown could then come in and reorganize. Well, that was all of the above. So raise your dollars, because there was no winner on that one. But the Greenway crew wanted to make sure, those of you who weren't there was about 1,400 drills and drill chargers and batteries, and John's main job was to keep these things charged in 118-degree temperature. And there were drill bits for all of those of you who know, the T20 drill bits, which there's a box of them in here for you, John, was constantly being charged for 19 days, and that was John's main job. So you've got one of those as a souvenir. Plus the summer at the Greenway cooling scarf for you in your tool tote, because it's really important. So lastly, I'll just close. The next slide, you all know that John came to us a year ago telling us that it was going to be a brand new day with him at the helm of Downtown Rotary. And John, every day has been a brand new day, having you as president. But I just want you to know that as soon as John leaves today, his slogan is now going to change. That slogan is now going to be, "It's a beautiful day, don't ruin it." John, we have a t-shirt for you with that. Thank you, John, and congratulations.
Now it's time for our program. We have a very special guest who is here with us today. Some of you may remember Uncle Jimmy Nolan. For those of you who do not, Uncle Jimmy hosted a children's program on KIMA TV from 1953 to the late 1970s. It was called Uncle Jimmy's Clubhouse. The luckiest of Yakima children got to be interviewed by Uncle Jimmy, and he gave them special membership cards. In addition to being a local celebrity, Uncle Jimmy was a past president of this Rotary Club from 1967 to 1968. Sadly, Jim Nolan passed away in 2004, but through the magic of Rotary and the great clubhouse in the sky, he is going to be here today with us to interview President John. Please welcome Uncle Jimmy.
Thank you very much. This is just great to see all you smiling faces here. As you're aware, being a Rotarian, I had access and was drafted into this process. The face is not exactly like Uncle Jimmy's because there have been a lot of budget cuts at Rotary International. And they've cut back on things with inflation, energy costs, all that kind of thing. Getting through the space-time continuum, as John can tell you, because he's not just a museum history guy, of course, John knows math and science stuff. So he could explain how it is that Uncle Jimmy could be not here and still here. But they decided, Paul Harris once visited you, I understand, not so long ago. Paul Harris was here, and other people have come and gone through the corridor of time. So it turns out they asked me as Uncle Jimmy to come. They've sort of developed sort of a generic look for the people they moved to and from pain. And this is like it, you know. So I'm glad to join you, and as soon as I can find the piece of paper on the floor, I'll be continuing. I think where things are right, just where I want them right now. It's a finely tuned machine for Uncle Jimmy here. So, yes, this is indeed, why Uncle Jimmy? That would be a good question. Well, John has now completed 1 year as Rotary President. At the end of every year, people do certain things. In a previous existence, John, at the museum, had artifacts of the Uncle Jimmy era. Now, Uncle Jimmy, having lived through that period when I was actually walking the earth as Jim Nolan, and doing that show, I did the weather, I did the headlines, I did all the news, and of course the highlight of my day every day really was 3:30 when the children would arrive. Now, who here has been to the clubhouse? Which of you boys and girls have been to the clubhouse? I know little Dana Dwinell was in it. Yeah, and Charlie Eglin and Davey Hargraves and little Melissa Stevenson Laverton and Johnny Atkinson, of course, and all the rest of you have been there, and you know the magic that was Uncle Jimmy's Clubhouse, which of course was followed at 4 o'clock by Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse Club. And the most important thing, as everyone knows about Mickey Mouse Club, is Annette Funicello, but that's a separate discussion. And the counseling for some members and past presidents themselves still goes onward for that. So in any case, we decided that the head muckety-mucks at Rotary International, let's send Uncle Jimmy back and visit with the birthday boy, as it were, himself, John Ball, and let's just discuss a little bit about what went on during his year and see if he's worthy, because as a past president, I think I'm going to get a vote today on this thing. And we'll see if John is able to get into the club with us. So let me just move over to the clubhouse, and we'll begin our discussion. So since both of us have been, are able to speak loudly enough, we'll try to work it this way rather than passing this microphone back and forth. For Jimmy, that's good. Can you guys hear what Uncle Jimmy's saying right now? Is that working? Okay. Thank you. Good. So, John, it's good to be with you. I want to just explain that this is an important discussion we're going to have here because, and I'm going to call, if it's okay, can I just call you John? Yes. Because David Hargraves and, and Charlie Eglin and, well, Danny Winnell is a separate category. Yeah. But, I just want to make sure that, we get a chance to talk comfortably here, and all the boys and girls are going to be with us are going to get to learn things too as we discuss aspects of their year. And then as we get through with all this, then the presidents will know what they should do, either this or it could be that. Now, okay. Uncle Jimmy always would begin, if you recall, with Uncle Jimmy's birthday book, which was there with the little train you could drive and the treasure chest or the take your pick box, and that's going to be a big part of what we're going to talk about later, the take your pick box. In fact, it's not really even right for me to begin this as Uncle Jimmy without equipping you with what you need as you sit there in the show. What you need is some Darigold ice cream.
Of course.
And it turns out at this point we couldn't get Darigold, we could get Godiva for you.
Oh, better.
So here you go. I'll put that right there. Slide the book right there for a second. We'll rest it there for you. And then I've got a spoon. Feel free to jump right in there if you want that. That's not a problem. And then I should point out that, well, that's good. That's assertive, but write that down, past presidents. Little I'm still president or you're not. There we go. So we do have the Uncle Jimmy birthday book here, but we also have, what few people knew about this, John, is also has Jimmy's big book of past Rotary presidents. And this has a lot of different categories. It has the interesting stuff, and then further on in the book there's the really interesting stuff, and then there's holy criminy, he did that too stuff, and then there's the she did what stuff, which is a whole different category. So we're going to put that right there so we have it. And I'd like, I guess the first thing, while you're enjoying your Darigold like ice cream, and of course we used to send you home with Snyder's bread, which as we all know, if you're here, the big white loaf with see, this is my people. Good. So what I wanted to ask first, Johnny, was did you have a really fun time as president? Note the delay.
Yes.
What was the most fun part?
Harassing Carolyn.
That would be good. Yeah, that worked for me as well when I was and she was just a figment of my imagination at that point in time. Now, are you going to have any kind of special dinner tonight to celebrate the end of the first year as being in the president category of Rotary?
I will be on Front Street tonight, eating a hot dog. At best. Good.
And I'm curious, did Carolyn make any promises to you about what might happen if you were a good boy today, if you came on the Uncle Jimmy show and behaved yourself and did a good job?
No, she gave me no expectations. In fact, mostly what she gave me was warnings.
Well, that's good because there are a lot of past presidents here that are going to be evaluating this, and you can tell the past presidents because they have usually helpers. They have help like standing up, sitting down, taking their medication, all the way. So if you see somebody that's not paying attention, that's focus for that group. So, okay, now we have some questions we want to ask you to go over quickly, just to kind of review how you respond to certain things, Johnny. And it could be that some of the members, boys and girls here with us today, are going to be able to help us with this too. So since you are a man of facts and history, we were curious if you could tell us just in general, in Yakima here, because you know so much, you're famous for knowing so much about these issues. When was the Yakima Lieutenant mission established? About.
1853. 1849, actually. 1849, 53.
49 gets full credit.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's good. That's good. If you were on tour, you just go with that one.
Yes.
Now, in a similar way, talking about dates, Johnny, when you went from, when the city was moved from Union Gap to north, up in where it is now, North Yakima, what year was that?
That was in 1885, but it wasn't from Union Gap, because at that time it was Yakima City.
Right, exactly. So, and 1885 is the date. Now, I have always had trouble remembering that date until and this, boys and girls, this could be for you too as Yakimaniacs. This is a trick I learned to remember in 1885. 1885 is just 10 years after Harry Ellen Hellison was born.
There you
just
go.
add 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
you add 10. You do the math, and it works out
Great.
well. That's great. Okay, so I think now it's time for a take the pick box. Take the pick box. Now, normally, little boys and girls, as you will recall, those you were attended, would get to take the pick. And this is let Uncle Jimmy take his pick. So I've got something for you here. Let me just get this over here. Here's the box. And the first thing we're going to do is get something out you may need later.
Yes.
A tumbler. Okay.
This will go with the gin glass.
Yes, that would be well. Funny you should mention that. That's great. So my next question is to talk to you a little bit about this issue that was brought up by Kelly about colorblindness. And we have had some examples here lately of things you've been involved with. Carolyn, I think, are we ready? We've got you were in some meetings lately discussing changes that you would recommend making around Yakima.
Yes.
We have the first one.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, that was something you brought up, and we felt that was different. I think you said that reading the museum in warm and tender tones of taupe and brown. That didn't. And you have and of course there's we work Arnold Liz at the Gilbert House.
Yes.
We have that also.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we live about 200 feet away from that, and I don't think that people I know live there anyway, and I don't think that would be a good idea. So have you always been aware of the color blindness, or was that something that came later in your life?
No, I've always been aware. But it had a great advantage, because when I was in the Army, I got out of 2 duties because I was colorblind and they wouldn't give me a driver license. And I was more than happy not to have one more duty. So
Well,
I've banked on that for years. So.
that's outstanding. And because of that, we're going to give you one more thing on the Take Your Pick box. And we're going to give you this mixing kit for some chemistry.
Okay.
Instructions. And there may be something that goes with that too, but we'll have to see. So the next thing I'm curious about is the fact that you have been known, one of the things we know about you, John, is that you have such difficulty saying no to people. A hard thing for you. And as a result of that, we got a hold of Rotary International. They are now going to send you to the Rotary International Academy of Self-Assertiveness, and don't by golly, I'm good enough to say it. By and they will teach you things like, and Carolyn has the coupons, the flight program all lined up, considering how to say no, establishing your own personal boundaries, which looks like you could use some help with. Be aware of potential persuasion techniques. Practice saying no. We've got some mirrors we're going to give you. You're going to stand in front of them today and say, can't do that. And then they're going to talk about how people ask you actually ask for more time to consider things before committing, so you can kind of ease into the idea of laying people down gently, which will be good for you. So the final thing that I really want to point out, I think we're getting some good information from the past presidents. We know that you're involved in fundraising, as Kelly pointed out, and we know that you have led tours all over the world. And as Richard would validate today, most people came back that were safe without any harm.
Most of them, yes, most of them.
So we think you've done a really overall a very good job for us. So Uncle Jim's clubhouse part, we're going to get the final part of the missing.
Great.
That's not what you're used to, I realize,
Yeah.
but for both
And it's
consumption.
not full.
I have no idea where that came from. But it's going to go back there later. So as it turns out, I'm going to have to go on a little bit. But here's the deal. We know hats are a big thing for you. And we had a hat that came actually from your period of service But if that doesn't work out, you've got your cowboy hat or this very nice Swiss Army veteran hat. Which would be nice. And I think you've just done a good job of playing with the boys and girls today and sharing a little bit about yourself and this big kind of semi-birthday, Rotary birthday event. And I'm going to ask somebody else to come up. I think Greg Thorne has got something that ties into this hat he wants to take care of. But what Uncle Jimmy always mentioned before he let people go watch Annette on Mickey Mouse Club was keep your smile smiling.
That was more information than most of you needed to know.
And indeed, next up, Past President Greg Luring with a special presentation.
Well, I guess I got the lucky straw, and I'm really honored to be able to present this letter. And this is a very special letter from one of our distinguished members. Please follow along with me to see if you can figure out who wrote this moving letter. John, it is a real honor to join the many others in Yakima Rotary who are grateful to you for your distinguished service to Rotary and for your leadership during the past year as our president. Your experience and visibility in the Yakima community and your organizational skills really gave you the background to pull together the many positive programs of Rotary. As a fellow veteran, I also want to thank you for your program to recognize and chronicle the experiences of our Vietnam-era veterans. The Vietnam War was a very decisive time for America, and it was painful to the 3.5 million of us who served to return to such a divided nation. You served honorably in Korea during that time frame, which was another ongoing war zone. John, you have done so much for Yakima as the director of the wonderful Yakima Valley Museum from 1992 to 2016, 24 years. Thankfully, you continue your dedicated support as a director emeritus. There is no part of that superb museum, John, that does not reflect your care and attention. I look forward to seeing you at Rotary in the coming years. Thanks for your continued positive engagement with our community. Signed, Barry McCaffrey, honorary member of Yakima Rotary. And just to remind you, Barry is one of the few 4-star generals that ever make that rank. So this is a great letter, and the team had it framed for you. Another thing to hang on your wall. So.
Thank you, Past President Greg. So, past presidents, you've now heard the evidence. Should we accept President John amidst our ranks in the Past Presidents Council? If so, do I hear a motion? So moved. And a second, perhaps? Second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Oh, that was unanimous. Congratulations. We have several items, and I won't hand them all to you so that your hands are full, but there is the esteemed past president's plaque for the wall. There is also the past president's badge to wear with honor, and your past president's pin. And with that, we're going to turn over the meeting to you. And just remember, there's going to be something out of order, so don't forget that part at the end. All right, past president.
Well, I don't know, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I guess I will say something, but fairly short. I think really we started this year as one that was going to be a brand new day, and that was based a lot upon the fact that I had hoped that the pandemic was coming to a close and we weren't going to be talking about masks and non-masks and all those other kind of things, which turned out not to be quite the case for a little while longer. The first few months were a little up and down. We also had a little bit of smoke in there, which caused some consternation as well as a bit of respiratory ailments. But it's been a great year, really, and it's been an honor, and I know that the more I got into the year and realized what it's all about and how much really trust and faith you put on your presidents, I was so amazed to actually be one of those people. I saw that I was the 104th, which either matches my age or my IQ. So I'm not sure which one, but anyway, I particularly want to thank all the committee chairs, all the people who put together the programs, brought programs, put together the various things. There were an awful lot of things that were kind of, because of last year being a year that was really challenged by COVID even more. There were many committees that started off this year kind of in the dark, so to speak, because they hadn't had the experience of working as part-time last year. And everyone from Mike, who started off with one of the first things, Mike Hummel, with the Rotary picnic, which turned out to be a Rotary smokeout, and on up and through lobster feed, through all our programs throughout the year. It's really been, quite the year, and I'm so glad to turn it over to Rick for lots of reasons, but I think the club is back now. It's great to see everybody back here in this room. We had some really lean meetings during the beginning, just in terms of numbers, and now to be able to have us back and doing back what we were intended to do is really important. I look forward to the project that the three clubs are working on. It turned out to be a lot larger and a lot more glacially in time period than we thought it was going to be in the beginning, but that's all right. Good things take a time, and it's just the way that things work. And I don't want you to forget that even though today is my last day as president, I think I retained some power to go after you for labor on that project when we need it. So don't forget, it will come. It will come. And thank you for all those who have supported that in one way or another, whether it's financial or just in agreeing that this is something that I think will be a really benefit to the community. And I will close with one thing. If you could, Noelle, right next to Peg, there are some bags there. And if one of you, Lisa, or you can actually leave them down there, because one of those is for Lorna. Well, actually, two of them are, because they couldn't all go in one bag. And the other is for Carolyn, because this club does not run without those two. And in fact, nobody... Yeah. Yes, that one's Carolyn, and then the other two go to Lorna. This club, nobody would be president without Lorna and Carolyn. I can tell you that, because every single time there's a question or, hey, you're not, don't forget you're supposed to be doing XYZ, it's Carolyn who picks up the pieces and really keeps everybody in line and helps us keep everybody together. So it's been a terrific year. I'm really honored to join the Past Presidents Club, although I'm not sure about some of those remarks about my
bizarre behavior, but that's kind of who I am, and I guess it'll continue to be who I am. So with that, I look forward to continuing to do a lot with the club and certainly in the community. I may have retired from full-time work, but my philosophy is I'm not going to sit at home all day. The cats don't need me, don't want me, and are not interested in me most of the time. So there's no particular reason to do that, and I really believe, since I don't have the resources financially to make a big difference, I hope I can make a difference with my time and energy. And I will try not to fall down in front of you again. I'll work on that anyway. So we'll see what happens. But again, thank you all very, very much. And I guess we now are having music.
Happy trails to you. Keep on smiling until then. Cares about the clouds if we're together. Just sing a song and bring that sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Some trails are quite happy ones, others are blue. It's the way you ride the trail that counts. Here's a happy one for you. Care to join us, everybody? Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep on smiling till the end. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring that sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again, till we meet again.
And with that, completing the business of this meeting, we are now adjourned. Have a wonderful day.